Now may the peace of God, which goes beyond our mortal understanding, continue to be with you. Do you know, as Seventh-day Adventist youth, anytime we wear uniform or anytime we are conducting any of our activities, we are not allowed to use swords, sidearms, rifles. We are not even allowed to wear camouflage or anything that is popular with the military. In fact, the only thing that is allowed in the Adventist Youth Ministry that is borrowed from the military is foot drills and marching. Now, all these that I'm talking about can be termed as militarism. So what is militarism? This term militarism once again can be found at the General Conference Youth Ministry's website when you go to the Pathfinder page in talking about the do's and don'ts of the youth ministry. Now, the reason why this term is very profound in pathfindering is because pathfindering was inspired by the Scout movement and the Army. These two organizations inspired the do's and don'ts and the activities of the Pathfinder ministry. And so there are times where we need to make a clear distinction between what we are allowed to borrow from the Army or what we are allowed to be inspired by the Scouts and what we are not allowed to do. So what then is militarism? Militarism can simply be explained to a Pathfinder, to an Adventist youth, or can be defined as the extension of military influences into civilian, social, or religious spheres of life. Yes, it is when we extend military influence into our religious activities, into our social activities, into our socio-economic or political spheres, cycles of our daily lives. When it comes to the Adventist Youth Ministry, we can go a step further to say that militarism is the deliberate extension of military influence or a deliberate intention to teach military influences and ideologies to the Adventist youth. Now, why is this very key thing and as such so much important that the General Conference Youth Ministry makes mention of this? It is very important because of how the Pathfinder ministry is built. The uniform, the insignia, the drills, the marching, the band, and all that. You will be tempted. You will be tempted to think that this is the army in the SDA church. Again, the second reason why it is important to stress and define this thing clearly and teach Pathfinders and the youth ministry in general about this militarism is that many people are of the view that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is building an army to be a militia, because we have been talking about last day's event, we have been talking about mark of the beast and being hated and being persecuted. And so the church is using its youth ministry to prepare our young people to be a force that will fight this end time event. It is very important we explain this concept very well, because it is not only non-Adventists who have these ideas. Strange enough, certain master guys and Seventh-day Adventists, even elders, have this idea. It can also be expanded as using AYM programs, that is, using Adventist Youth Ministry programs and Pathfinder activities and programs to breed and prepare the Adventist youth for military or army recruitment. Now let me expand on that again. Let me expand these two. Anytime a master guide, a pastor, or an elder brings out the idea, continuously pushes the idea that we are training you as an Adventist youth, We are letting you go through marching and drilling. We are teaching you hiking and all this, so that when you get the opportunity to join the army, things will be easy for you. That concept is militarism. So the question is, but Pathfinder guy, is anything wrong with you psyching the minds of the master guys or the Pathfinders that whatever they are learning will help them gain employment into the army or any of the security services? Well, yes, because the Seventh-day Adventist Youth Ministry, anytime, any day, any of our programs is run, the whole focus, the whole attention, every word that must come out of the mouth of an instructor to motivate, to psych the minds of the young people is to help the young people embrace the call of Jesus to his discipleship and foster a broader, deeper relationship between the master guys and Jesus Christ. That is the sole mission, aim of every activity, of every program in the Adventist Youth Ministry. Beloved, if you want to join the army, go and join the cadets in your school. If you want to join the police, go and join the cadets in your school. You can join any other paramilitary or any other youth society like the Scouts, which has no religious influence, which has no religious backing. I asked this question one time. What is the difference between our young people going for extra classes on Saturdays and what we do in the progressive class on Saturdays every day? Because in our progressive class, we learn about flowers, we learn about plants, we learn about birds, we do leisure as an honor, accounting, currency. We learn a whole lot of things that the normal school system teaches. And so what is the difference between what someone will go to a school to go and learn on Saturday and what we do Saturday afternoons in the church? The difference is, at the end of what we learn and teach in the progressive class, during the lesson of what we teach in the progressive class, we strive to constantly link whatever these young people are learning. We strive to link whatever the instructors are teaching to salvation of humanity, to the young people embracing the call of Jesus, to his discipleship, fostering a better spiritual relationship between the Pathfinder and Jesus Christ, and then encouraging the young person to be a missionary, which is absent in the school curriculum. So when if you should go to a Saturday classes, your teacher will teach you pollination, and that is it. What has pollination got to do with Jesus Christ? What has pollination got to do with you being a missionary? That is what we do. And so because we do that, there is a big difference. In fact, it is like what M.E. Ken said some time ago when he was expanding on why we need to form the Pathfinder club instead of allowing our young people to join the Scout movement. He was quoting what Ellen White said some time ago. He said, until Christ is Lord of all, he is not Lord at all. That is a deep statement. So until Christ is Lord of all, until Christ is Lord of all the things we are learning, he's not Lord at all, which is a very important concept that is missing in the Saturday classes your son or daughter will go. That is what we add. And so we make the Pathfinder a responsible person by letting him or her know that whatever he is learning must draw him closer to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and must draw him closer and deeper to a relationship with him, and must draw him closer and encourage him to share that light, that love of Jesus Christ with everyone else. If that is missing from the drills and marching, if that is missing from the hiking, from the knot tying, my dear ones, we are militarizing the youth ministry. So under no circumstance should the youth ministry be recruit training grounds for any of the security services. We've all been corporate of these things some years ago. Now, the other thing which is also part of militarism in the Adventist Youth Ministry is when we use military uniforms and insignias. Of course, in the general uniform policy, which I will talk about in another video, people who are serving our nation in the security services are allowed to put some of their insignias in the youth ministry uniform. That one is a different thing altogether. But the moment we try to adapt the way the military and the paramilitary the dresses, there's a problem. In fact, for those who do not know, before we got our uniforms, there was a formal meeting between the scout movement and the security services as to the do's and don'ts, so that people will not mistake us for a paramilitary organization or a military unit. And so one very important thing, because of the nature of the Pathfinder uniform, especially that of the master guys and the insignias we use, unfortunately, are similar, if not even same, to militia groups in some countries, to some rebel groups in some countries. Okay, that is the more reason why we want to even clearly state that camouflage is a not. And if you are in a country where the youth uniform you are wearing is similar or connotes the idea of militia, you are supposed to change it. In some countries over the world, the Pathfinder uniform or the young adult uniform or the adventure uniform, whatever uniform we wear, is similar to state security institutions or rebel groups or paramilitary organizations or militia groups. And so, per our SDA Youth Ministry uniform policy, we are supposed to throw away or ditch those uniforms we have and adopt a different uniform which will be unique from all these institutions, so that nobody can blame the church as a breeding ground for militia. So that is it with militarism. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send them to me on my Facebook, Instagram,